Good morning, everyone. Grand rising, everyone. However, you like to share. If this is your first time, welcome to Healing Room Tarot. This is yours truly, Magoon. I am simply a tool for spirit to use as spirit pleases. All of the messages here, unless stated otherwise, are, you know, they are for you whenever you receive the message. There are sometimes specific, again, you will see one is coming up. So if you are familiar with the snake skin shedding readings, that is coming up. It is coming up. And I will be grouping them by, well, no, I will do them individually. I'll go live and I'll do them individually. And if you do not catch them in time of the live recording, again, they are open for you afterwards. And for those of you who do not know what those are readings to let you know what it is that you need to get rid of or need to shed off as Spirit is preparing you for a new space. And with that being said, please hit the like, share, and or subscribe for either YouTube or my Instagram page under the same name, healing_room_tarot. And that is where you will find a lot of my information as far as connecting off of the platform if you would like or desire to have a personal reading with me. And this also brings me into today's topic. Um, Basically, persevering through the wait, right? So we're always waiting for things, and I know in today's society, we are a society where we want things instantly, right? And in the wait time, that is where when we don't see progress, when we feel like there should be progress, that is when spirit is operating behind the scenes, behind closed doors, having that secret reveal. And for us on this side, we are, my gosh, we our minds are everywhere. Um, we want the stability, right? Because in that silence, what happens is that we're not for sure, right? We don't have that surety that things are going as planned, according to our plans, that is. But and I'm going to say this now for this reading. I was raised in the Christian church. Um, we were non-denominational, so we didn't affiliate with a denomination. Um, Although some people will say that's a denomination within itself, right? Um, but one of the things that we would always talk about is whenever things don't go toward the way that we planned them, God laughs. And because God has already set our plans for us, same thing. However, and I'm saying the same thing as in however you look at spirit, the great one, no matter the name that you call him, her, however you define that the all powerful, right? Answers to all. And so there are people that will argue, no, well, God's name is this, or the all powerful's name is this, or the highest spirit is this. I had an encounter. I personally had an encounter, and I was told that the all powerful goes by over 1,000 names. Not up to 1,000 names, over 1,000 names. So, however you define that ultimate power, They will answer you. That is the thing. When you are the all powerful, some people may not call you by the name that you know that you were given. So, for example, I know what is. So, for example, Jesus. Some people say Jesus is Jesus, but in the Spanish culture, it's Jesus. And I know the same thing for Mary and Marie are interchangeable depending on where you are. And so it doesn't mean that it's not the same name and it's not the same person. It may just be what it is in that language. And yes, I am going to go ahead and I'm pulling cards as we have a conversation. Um, Mainly because I have limited time this morning, but the conversation is still the same. We must wait. I was about to say wait with temperance, and it's because temperance is the energy that we have to be in. Temperance is that waiting energy that allows us to wait with an easiness, wait while taking the weight off. Wait as in WAIT while taking the WEIGHT off. And that is because in this time we should be relaxing. And I know things your world could seem hectic, but when you wait in a perfectly peaceful, when you intentionally embrace peace, what happens is that you're preparing yourself for that. Because while you're waiting with the WEIGHT, you have to realize that you have to let some things go in order to grasp the new things. And so there are several, I was about to say several things, but Spirit is saying several people. Um, so what I just heard, what I'm hearing now is that there are several people that you can cling close to, and then there are several people that you absolutely must keep your mouth closed to. And that is because during that waiting period, there can be people in your ear, and they will change your mind, change your discourse simply by the words that you say. And some people say them because they're spells. Let's face it, our mouth is one of the most powerful instruments on this earth. When you talk negative to yourself, you are manifesting those negativities. When you talk positive to yourself, you talk positivity into your life. And I know for most of you, you've heard this. Well, right now, that's what I'm getting. It's like during this waiting season, and I know this is another waiting season, but I was really, when I was honing in, it was more of send a reminder. So I said, I'm like, I did a waiting reading message before, but okay. And I've also learned in this space to just go with what Spirit is saying. It's easy. Stop fighting against, stop going against the grave, whatever Spirit, wherever Spirit is taking you, go. It is so much easier. I see now why there is another scripture in the Bible that says, "My burden is easy," and that was um, Jesus' way of saying, "If you take on my burdens, it's easier than anything else you could bear." And however you subscribe, Jesus, right? The ultimate thing is if you give it to the ultimate power and stop carrying that burden, no matter what the road looks like, you'll be carried through your problem. You'll be carried through your situation. Okay, Spirit said there's one more card. There it is. All right, so the first is the Six of Swords. And what I'm getting is that there is a decision, or what I'm hearing is that there's this decision that you have to make. Um, these cards were, I'm going to say this, created with an AI tool, but for this, it works for this message. See, as you can see, the horse has three legs in the front. The decision is whether you're going to take the step forward or whether you're going to stay complacent. So even in this waiting period, sometimes we say to ourselves, I'm not going to move unless or until or when this happens, this whatever this is, right? And sometimes spirit is saying, no, I need you to take that step forward without knowing. Sometimes it's better that way. Sometimes it's what we need. It's that fool like energy. Like, I'm gonna keep walking, and to everybody else it looks foolish, but to me, this works. For me, this is what I need. And when you do, you get the Ace of Cups. So some of you are waiting for your Ace of Cups, but what I'm hearing is you have to walk into it. Some of you are waiting for opportunity to come when the opportunity is waiting for you to enter the door. So you have to, so like, and I know we're talking about waiting, right? But when you wait, you're not just complacent, you're still doing the things that you're supposed to. And most of the time, Spirit has given you directions. It's whether or not you are following those directions or you're hearing the directions clearly. I know I made a statement that said, I don't want to miss my door of opportunity. Block out everything else to show me my door of opportunity. And my goodness, did that not happen? And I was confused. Because I'm in a new career space. I'm not going to say that I never saw myself in, because I do the thing right generically, or not generically, but naturally. I do this new career thing naturally. It was the audience. I never wanted to. So whatever that thing is that you never want to do, but it's always being placed in front of your face, that is the thing you're supposed to do. Um, I just never had an interest in it, so I never took it up. But when I didn't have a choice but to take it up, it is now with me. It is now something that I must do. And then guess what? Right after you get your cup, we have temperance. Because what it's saying is, right after you have made the decision to move, right after you get your cup, still wait. You still have to wait with it, because it is new. Because you have to get accustomed to it as just as much as it has to become accustomed to you. You want to it's funny how this is coming to me. So for my anime people, you're going to love this. One of the things that I'm seeing is just like how the Digimon or Pokemon is, right? After you get your beast, after you get your animal, you or your species, let me say it like that. You don't instantly make that connection. You have to create a bond with it before you can be able to use it. That's how. That's how. I wish you could all see what I'm seeing right now in my third eye. Sometimes the things I see is hilarious, and sometimes it's concerning. Sometimes it's like a simple picture, right? And it's after you get that bond and it is solidified, then you will start to understand why your path took the why your path was led that way, why certain things happen in your life to navigate you to that space, why you are needed in that space. And so whenever there's this big urgency, well, not urgency, it's like a power surge, that's what I want to say. But it is a big urgency for some people, but there's a lot of people that there's not an urgency for. But this big power surge is a lot of people are actually starting to awaken and walk into their destinies. It's like there's this shift in on the earth plane that is allowing people to say, hey, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and this is what I'm going to do. And they are starting to do it. They're actually starting to listen to spirit and go with those directions. And that is good because as you begin to go into these spaces, Ten of Wands is here. You will start to see the weight that you've been carrying fade away. Those major problems, those cycles that you kept going into, you will stop having them. You will, let's say that you felt like, oh, I've been carrying this grief with me all this time, and then you start operating in your destiny, your called space. And then you start to notice that you no longer have grief. And then you start to realize that while you were in your grief, you did not realize that your loved one or that thing, the thing that you was grieving, um, has released you so that you could be who you're meant to be, so that you could embrace in full and in totality what is meant for you. A lot of people will grieve a job, not realizing that spirit was pushing you away from that job to go into something better, something more peaceful, something where you can use your untapped in talent. Because there's a lot of talents that people have that they may not share. Some people don't even consider it a talent. They just say, oh, this is just something that I do. But, sweetie, not everybody can do that. So it's important for you to understand that when you have certain talents and giftings, that you must use them because you are the only person around you that have that gift. Now, I'm not talking about, so a lot of people say, oh, well, a lot of people's doing tarot these days and da 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 da, right? There's a lot of people that do tarot, but how we interpret the tarot, how it is gifted, how it comes to us will be different. And you will know the ones that are for you because we're all saying the same language. We're all telling you the same thing. And I'm laughing because I have a friend who went to three different people. I was the last person, and I couldn't do a reading. And I said, I don't understand why it's so hard. And I literally could not pull cards for her. And I said, Spirit said no. Spirit told me to tell you no. That Spirit has already given you the directions and that you must follow them. I'm not going to keep telling you the same thing. It doesn't matter who you go to, it will be the same message. And especially if you are someone that, like I said, you have to embrace that thing that keeps following you, and you're like, no, 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 I don't want to do that. I don't want to have nothing to do with that. Well, that is Spirit's call for you. Now, there's going to be one or two things. You're going to either do it willingly or unwillingly. And if you do it unwillingly, I'm telling you, It's going to be something so horrific, something so painful that you have no choice but to do that thing. And because there will be a strain on your life, things will be taken away from you. You will be put into situations that you didn't even think existed. And that is Spirit's way of getting your attention. Nine of Swords is here to confirm what I just said. Because when you put down the burdens and you'll have free, you'll be able to move like you need to move. But if you haven't started changing the way that you think about your situation, it's like, but I'm free from that thing, so why am I still thinking about it? Why does it have a strong hold in my mind? Why do I wake up terrified? Why am I so anxious? Why am I so disturbed when certain people say certain things to me? It is because you've left the task, but there's a memory there of it, right? So even like I stated earlier, say like you had to leave your job. You left the job, but it doesn't mean that the things that you went through is cleared. So one thing that is helpful is therapy. Go to therapy. Let the professionals do what they can do to help you. But then you also, because in therapy, first let me say this, in therapy you will find the physical release, but then you also have to do the spiritual release of knowing and grieving the thing that you thought was your career path is now changing and transforming into something different. And so once you are able to clear out this Nine of Swords, this way of thinking, what you begin to do is you begin to have the peaceful mindset. You're able to, Eight of Wands, walk to that new place. You're able to see something new. And Eight of Wands is that new message, right? That it's usually a card of activity, but it's also the card of a message. So this is your message. I am your current Eight of Wands, right? I'm telling you to let things go, to let things be, and to walk in peace. Accept the fate that has been given to you because it is set for you for a certain reason. And with that movement, you're not only going to a new place and quickly, it is your destiny finally, your, well, if we're going to look at a timeline, your destiny was already set before, while you were walking at while you were before you was even born. Let me put it that way. So while you're walking to your destiny, you go through all the things, you go through all the things, and you go through all the things. I hope you all can say, let me do it this way. You go through all the things, and this is years and years and years of living, and then finally you get to this point, and you said, okay, fine, I'm going to stop fighting. What is this thing that I've been running from or that I've been avoiding, not realizing it's my destiny? And once you accept it, it's like you go, and now you're at your destiny. Now your things start to work out because you have answered the call, um, as many people would say, right? You have not only answered the call, but you have now accepted the task that comes with the call because there are certain things that happen for you, and through you and with you to better the lives of other people. I've oftentimes said on this channel that it's not just you, it is other people that your life will impact, and that will determine the impact of the rest of the world. The quote is, people may forget what you said to them, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And that is a true thing. And because there's been times when I've met people at conferences and I'm like, I cannot remember this person's name, but I remember the situation and I can go up there and say that situation and it sparks that memory. It's, yes, yes, I do remember you because we were XYZ and we did this and we did, oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. And when we have those moments, we build that connection again. And I'm hearing that is how our destinies is. It's when we, before we were born on this earth, we were given certain assignments. We were given destinal things. I don't know if that's a word, but that's how I'm going to say it today. We were given destinal things, and while we were coming out the birth canal, the destined thing goes before us and waits for us. Then when we come out, we now have whatever is shaping us, is shaping and preparing us for this destinal meeting. And when we get to this meeting, and I shouldn't even call it a meeting. When we get to that point in time where we can accept and receive our destiny, then we blossom even more. That is when we, I just heard this, so I'm going to say this because it's true. That is when we become targets. And we become targets because the opposing forces do not want us to make it to our destiny place. They do not want to make it to, they don't want us to accept our destiny, because what it does, it disrupts the plans and the things that they want to do, those entities. And when you step into your ultimate power, you become unstoppable, because there is a physical and a spiritual destined place that you step into when you answer the call, when you step into the call, when you step into your power, and when you become an unstoppable force. You become an unstoppable force. Now, I'm not going to say that there's not going to be tests and trials that try to slow you up and trip you up, because you go through that in every level. But with this level, now it's destined, it's purposeful, and, and people who touch you thinking that you're the same person will have an even worse fate than they could imagine. Because as you've been prepared on this road, and I will even say most of you that are watching, if not all, more than likely, when by the time you see this, you are by yourself. You are not with a group of people. You have become antisocial, as people would say. You have been by yourself for a few weeks, few months, few days, if it's just starting, and you've been contemplating, where is this going? Like, I just don't have that pull that I used to have. I noticed that I don't want to do the same things. I just don't have that. I just want to be right, and that's because you are in this Hierophant energy. You have been in this space with spirit, where spirit has been preparing you for this moment, and that is important because the Hierophant is the one that has been in communion and meeting and in transition with spirit, the high spirit. And so, for those of you who are familiar with the biblical passage of Moses and how he went to the top of the mountain to be with God, that is that same type of spirit. Now, I'm not going to say that everyone's going to come back with this spiritual glow, but people will start to notice that there are things different about you now than before, and that is because you have been in this space. The things that you used to do, you're not going to be able to do anymore, because you're in a different space. You're in a different mode of life. When you're in your purpose, those things don't even matter. It's like giving a 17-year-old a rattler when he or she was a babe, few months old, and they're like, why are you giving me a rattle? I don't need this. That is how you are, and that is how you will become, for those who are just starting this track. So that is the message for today. Don't be weary in this season. This season is for you. This season is has been ordained for you since the beginning of time. Five of Wands, for those who wanted to know. Meaning that it's not gonna, like I just said, it's not gonna always be easy. It's not gonna always be easy, but you can do it. Thank you for coming to the room, and I look forward to seeing you at another session of Cards and Conversations and a few other readings. Have a good evening.